If you've ever tried saving for retirement, chances are you've struggled. Having spent 7 years working in finance with a degree in economics, I'm covering how much you need to save in your 401k at every age so you can see how you compare. But first, understanding exactly what is a 401k is one of the most important parts of building wealth. Yet it's also something that 2/3 of Americans are really confused about. So here's what a 401k is, and no, it doesn't mean you have $401,000. The 401k is part of the IRS tax code in section 401, subsection K. Who knew? A 401k plan is a retirement savings plan offered by employers where you basically set a percentage of your paycheck that you want automatically taken out to fund your 401k account. Now, something that wasn't always obvious to me was what actually happens to the money in your 401k account. And unfortunately, just because you put the money in the account, it doesn't start multiplying by itself. In reality, the 401k is just an investment account, meaning that you need to actually use the money inside the account to invest in something. And I'll tell you what you might want to invest in later on. Now, many people don't know, but there's actually two types of 401k accounts that you can choose from: a Roth 401k and a traditional 401k. I'll break down both of them and then tell you which one might be a better fit for you. Starting with the traditional 401k. First, the most important aspect you need to remember is whatever money you contribute to this account, you can use to deduct off your taxable income today. For instance, if you make $65,000 a year working at Mr. Magic Lamp Company and you contribute $10K of your income into a traditional 401k, and you only have to pay taxes on $55K. But the taxes don't just disappear forever. You will have to pay taxes on the money you withdraw from your traditional 401k account. Right now, the 401k has a contribution limit up to $23,000 per year, meaning you can contribute less than that, but no more than that. In 2023, people contributed on average 11.7% of their income towards their 401k, which means most people probably aren't taking the full advantage of the power of the 401k, mainly because you would need an annual salary of about $197,000 for 11.7% to be equal to the full $23,000 contribution limit. But do keep in mind that even if you don't or can't contribute the full limit, you should definitely contribute up to this thing called the employer's match, because it's the only account that offers a 100% guaranteed return on your money. Basically, employers agree to match your contribution up to a certain amount, i.e. free money. In 2023, the average employer match was between 4 to 6% of your annual salary. So if you earn $65,000 a year and you have a 6% employer's match and you contribute $3,900 to your 401k, then your employer will match your contribution with another $3,900, bringing your total to $7,800. A 2021 study found that nearly 34% of Americans who contribute to their 401k are not maxing out their employer match. So they're basically saying, no thank you to guaranteed free money. On the other hand, the Roth 401k has some pretty big differences. Contributions to a Roth 401k are made from post-tax money or money that you've already paid taxes on. But when you withdraw the money from your Roth 401k account, that's going to be tax-free. So the question is, which 401k account is better for you? Now that really depends on how you answer this next question. Do you believe that you will earn more money now or after you retire? For most people, they believe that they will earn less money after they stop working and retire, which is why more people go with the traditional 401k route. But if you think your situation is the complete opposite, then the Roth 401k might be a better fit for you. So now, how do you know if you're on track with your 401k account? Well, thanks to Vanguard, we know how much Americans save in their 401k at every age, so you can see how you compare. And I'll also share some strategies with you on how you can improve your standing. Starting with people under 25. The average 401k balance at this age is $7,351, and the median balance is $2,816. The average contribution rate here is 8.9% of their gross income, meaning from every paycheck, 8.9% of it goes towards their 401k account. But you do want to keep in mind that this rate also includes the employer's match contribution. Chances are, if you're under 25, you've either just started working or already job topped a few times. You're probably not seriously considering contributing to retirement yet, and while I do believe that you should enjoy your life because this is the first time that you have actual money, just remember this: the younger you are, the more powerful compound growth can work for you. You need to find a balance between living large and building wealth, because you don't want to lose the head start you can get by starting early. Here's what I mean. Let's say your annual salary is $65,000. Contributing 8.9% a year to your 401k is $5,785 a year, or $482 a month. If you invested that amount every year for 25 years starting at age 24, assuming a 10% rate of return, you would have more than $709,000 by age 49. And that's if you never get a raise and you never increase your contribution rate. But where it gets really interesting is if you increase your contribution from 8.9% a year to 15%, or $9,750 a year, or around $812 a month. In 25 years, you would have over $1,195,000. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the power of a few percentage points in compound growth, so start early. While you probably can't max out the full $23,000 contribution limit at this point, if your contribution rate is more than 10% of your annual salary, you're golden. But a big problem I've realized is that many people actually leave their 401k at their old employers and end up paying really high fees or completely forgetting about it. In fact, there's about 29.2 million forgotten 401k accounts holding approximately $1.65 trillion as of May of 2023. So to make sure you don't lose track of your money, you need to roll your old 401k into an individual retirement account that's not tied to your old job. Now, normally, this can take a few hours of work, from calling your old employer, faxing and notarizing documents, and more. What I think is really helpful is today's sponsor, Capitalize, which helps you get your money and roll over your 401k into an IRA, and you can get started in minutes. Basically, you just type in where you used to work to find your old 401k, pick a brokerage where you'd like to transfer the funds, and Capitalize will do the rest, helping you open an IRA and hunt down your money. Their team of experts will manage the entire rollover process for you. And it's free to use their rollover service because Capitalize gets paid by the brokerages and not you. It should be easy to roll over your old 401k. Check out the link below, it's highcapitalize.com/Vincent. Clicking that link will support the channel, but more importantly, will help you take back control of your money. Thanks again to Capitalize for supporting this video. Next, people between 25 and 34 have an average 401k balance of $37,557 with a median balance of $14,933. This group's average contribution rate is 11%. And at this age, you're probably getting the hang of career. You're starting to earn a bit more money, but you're getting pulled in many different directions, financially speaking. Like some of your friends are still partying every weekend, while others are planning for bigger life events like buying a house or getting married. There's a good chance that you've already thought about retirement, but you haven't taken any big steps yet. But that's a mistake, because this is when you're starting to make some serious money, and you should really build good money habits now. Otherwise, it's gonna be much harder to start when you're older. If you're between 25 and 34, you should, at a minimum, be maxing out your employer's 401k match, because if not, why not? Like, I can't say this enough, it is literally free money. So how much should you have saved in your 401k at this age? If you take the same 65k salary and expect a 10% return and a 10% contribution rate starting at 24, you should have around $128,000 in your 401k by 34. If you got that much, then you're doing a great job at becoming a millionaire by your early 50s. Next, people between 35 and 44 have an average 401k balance of $91,281 and a median balance of $35,537. This group's average contribution rate is 11.3%, which is basically the same as before. At this age, you're entering the prime of your career. The problem is, it becomes so much easier to fall for lifestyle inflation with obnoxiously colored cars, decked out watches, and luxury 6-star vacations. While I'm all for living a wealthy, healthy, balanced life, you gotta realize that you're gonna be retiring in a little over 20 years, meaning you should probably figure out your retirement number now. Knowing your magic number allows you to have a mental target in your mind so you know if you're heading in the right direction, financially speaking, which increases your chances of reaching it. If you're like me, then you probably want to retire as quickly as possible so you can stop working and actually live life. The easiest way to find your magic number is with the rule of 25. Basically, the rule of 25 says that you need to save 25 times your annual expenses to retire. So you gotta first figure out how much you spend every month, Then multiply your monthly expenses by 12 to figure out your annual expenses. You then multiply that annual expense by 25 to get the amount you'll need to retire. For instance, if your monthly expenses are $5,000, you multiply that by 12 to get an annual expense of $60,000. Then you multiply by 25 and you'll have your retirement number of 1.5 million. While it might seem impossible to get there compared to what you might have right now, remember, you're playing the long game and the power of compound growth is still in your corner. So if you haven't yet, figure out your retirement number and make sure your budgeting is aligned with it, and actively avoid lifestyle inflation. Now, you don't have to be struggling, but just make sure that you pay your future self first by living below your means so you can prioritize saving and investing. Oh, and also increase your 401k contribution rate to at least 15%. Next, people between 45 and 54 have an average 401k balance of around $168,646 and a median balance of $60,763. This group's average contribution rate is 11.9%. And what's interesting is that although this is most people's peak earning potential, the average contribution rate hasn't budged much for the past 3 decades. People are basically flat out ignoring Uncle Ben, RIP, who once said, "With great finances comes great responsibility." Now, how much you should have saved by now depends on your retirement number, but if we go with a similar example as before, if you take the same 65k salary with an expected 10% return and a 10% 401k contribution rate, starting at 24, you should have around $513,000 in your 401k by 45. If you got that much in there, then you're doing a fantastic job and you're gonna be a millionaire within the next couple of years. But if you are 40 and you still haven't saved a dime for retirement yet, you still have a shot. If you're 40 earning $65,000 and you contribute 15% of your salary, which is $9,750 a year or around $812 a month to your 401k, and assuming a 10% return, you can still become a millionaire 1 year before the traditional retirement age at 64. And there's another trick you can take advantage of. The IRS gives people over the age of 50 an additional lifeline in 401k contributions, meaning you can contribute an additional $7,500 per year on top of the $23,000 limit to your 401k, meaning you have a new limit of $30,500. Make sure you take advantage of this to reduce your taxable income and speed up your millionaire journey, especially now that you're likely in a higher tax bracket than before. Next, people between 55 and 64 have an average 401k balance of $244,750 with a median balance of $87,571. This group's contribution rate is 13.2%. And what's interesting is this age's group average contribution rate jumped by a healthy 1.3%, meaning people are finally starting to realize just how important 401ks are and they're trying to play catch up because they know retirement is around the corner. But if you've been following along and taking your finances seriously, then you should be well ahead of the curve by now. But even if you are financially behind, there's still a few things you can do to catch up. Remember, there's always still hope. First, review all your spending and aggressively cut unnecessary expenses so you can retire with less savings. Second, max out your 401k and Roth IRA as much as possible. Third, don't make perfect the enemy of good. If you can't max out your contributions, save as much as you can because anything helps. Fourth, look up your Social Security account and see what you're expected to receive if you wait until 70 years old to retire. And fifth, some unconventional advice, take extremely good care of your health. Cut out nearly all sugar, include more veggies, and exercise consistently. This will significantly reduce your expected medical expenses as you get older, which is gonna help a lot. All right, so you have some money in your 401k, what should you invest in? Unfortunately, it's not as simple as a regular brokerage account where you can just freely pick your favorite stocks. In most 401ks, your investment choices are limited to what your employer allows. For most people, the optimal choice is to find a mutual fund with 2 specific characteristics. 1, the mutual fund should follow the overall stock market like the S&P 500. And 2, the mutual fund has a low expense ratio so you can keep more money. But regardless of what you invest in, remember to never leave your 401k with your old employers when you switch jobs. Check out Capitalize, link below, to take care of this for free. And that leads me to something that you've got to start accepting. And it's that even if you're trying to save as much as you can, sometimes you still might feel like you're not saving enough. And that might be because you don't know these 6 middle-class habits that are keeping you poor. Click here to find out if you're doing any of this and why you need to stop now.